Today I'm going to provide extra assistance for those of you who need a little bit of extra guidance on the parenthetical citation practice. Yesterday, you watched the instructional video on parenthetical citations. This video talks about what a citation is and the pieces of the citation. Please, if you have not watched the parenthetical citation video, please do that before attempting this assignment. For this assignment, directions: after watching the instructional video, practice creating parenthetical citations with our memoir text, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Let's read the directions. For each section, construct a short paragraph that consists of your own words and a quote pulled from the text that supports your response. Your paragraph should include a quote in our new parenthetical citation format. For this assignment, please highlight the sections of your parenthetical citation. So we know from watching the video yesterday, when you're pulling a quote, meaning you're taking someone else's words and you're putting it within your own work, you need, first, a lead in, your own words introducing the quote. We're highlighting those yellow. Then you have a comma, highlighting those green. We're color coding in our assignment to make sure all parts are present. Then we have a quotation mark. You're highlighting that light blue. Then we're dropping in author's words. You'll be highlighting those pink. Make sure you kick out the punctuation at the end of the author's words. Next comes the second quotation mark. We're highlighting those light blue. Then you're going to have a parenthesis highlighted red, the author's last name highlighted orange, the page number highlighted purple, and the end parenthesis highlighted red. At the very end, you'll end with a period. We're highlighting that green. This will help ensure that you are including all parts of the parenthetical citation in your paragraph. I provided here a teacher example. So it says, prompt: write a paragraph about the author's use of vocabulary in her memoir and how it enhances the reader's experience. Use evidence from the text. So, the first thing is to use your own words. So you're thinking, how does Maya Angelou's vocabulary enhance the reader's experience? So this is going along with the memoir that I read to you. So I put, our author, Maya Angelou, uses many interesting vocabulary words in order to explain pieces of her memory from her work, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So I started with my own words. Now I'm starting with my lead-in because I'm pulling a quote from the text that supports this. My lead-in here is, one example from the text of a line that has an interesting vocabulary word is, comma, quotation mark. Then I'm dropping in the author's words, so you're going to have to go back to the text, back to the memoir, and pull a quote that shows what you're analyzing. So here we're looking at vocab. So I'm going into the text and I'm pulling an example of an interesting vocabulary word. At the end of the author's words, I kick out that punctuation, I end with my quotation mark, and then I craft the citation, parenthesis, author last name, page number, and parenthesis, period. Instead of walking away from the quote, we then use our own words and we sum up what that quote means, why it's important. So here I put the vocabulary here adds impact, and that word is couched. I learned that to couch yourself well is to express your thoughts and feelings well with words. Maya Angelou herself is very good at couching, as evident by her wide array of vocabulary used to paint a picture for readers. So notice that my response to the prompt has my own words before and after a quote, and I'm pulling a piece of text from our memoir using our format that you learned yesterday in your video, lead in, comma, quotation mark, author's words, kick out punctuation, end quotation mark, parenthesis, author last name, page number, and parenthesis, and period. So let's take a look at the first one. Prompt number 1, write a paragraph about the impact of sensory details in Maya Angelou's memoir and how they enhance the reader's experience. Use evidence from the text. So here, this is an example of what your response will look like. The first section is you using your own words to describe why you think sensory details, how something smells, how it tastes, how it sounds, how it feels, how it looks, is important in Maya Angelou's memoir. So I did, for example, the sensory details that the author Maya Angelou uses in her work really help to paint a picture in the reader's mind of what it was like for her in her memory. Certain details make the reader feel like he or she is there in the memory with her. They also help readers make personal connections to the experiences she's having. Now, I'm going into the memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, that we read earlier this week that I read to you with the audio, and we're pulling an example from the text of a sensory detail, and we're using our citation format that we learned in our video yesterday to add it into our own work. So we're starting with our lead-in. A quote from the text that has a sensory detail is, comma, quotation mark. Now I'm dropping in the author's words. I'm pulling a line that shows a lot of sensory detail. I get to the end, I kick out that punctuation, quotation mark, parenthesis, author last name, page number, and parenthesis, and period. Instead of walking away, now I'm going to use my own words to talk about how this quote is important with sensory details. This particular line gives the reader a strong visual that makes him or her feel like he or she is there in the kitchen with Maya waiting for a delicious Christmas treat. It also helps the reader connect, thinking of foods that he or she feels as passionately about as Maya Angelou does with pineapple. Okay, so your response will have your own words before and after, a quote that you're pulling from the text that shows an example of whatever the prompt is asking you to show an example of, and we're using our parenthetical citation format. Lead in, that's your own words introducing the quote, comma, quotation mark, author's words, we get to the end, we see punctuation, kick it out, quotation mark, parenthesis, author last name, page number, and parenthesis, period. So this is what yours will look like. You're going to craft a citation for each of these 4 pieces. So hopefully you did 2 yesterday and you'll do 2 today. If you have additional questions, please join the Zoom office hours at 3:05.